MPs will be among a truly multi-party push in the end. To get some perspective from the crossbench, we're joined now from Western Australia by independent MP for Curtin, Chaney, who was a very vocal campaigner. Kate, welcome back.
Thanks, Greg.
The response appears to be fairly warm. I'll get a general observation from you before, any niggles that you have with the draft. It largely meets your expectations, I take it.
That's right. I think there is a lot to celebrate today, and it's a testament to the work of the crossbench over a long period, especially Helen Haines. But it really does tick a lot of the big items that we were hoping to see in a model, like broad definition of corruption, broad powers, the ability to act on anonymous referrals or referrals from the public, decent oversight, and even a pro-integrity education focus. So lots of things to celebrate.
Coming from Western Australia, what are your views then on the public hearing threshold?
I think the threshold is too high. At the moment, the way the bill's drafted, there are really two thresholds. One is the public interest threshold, and then also this exceptional circumstances threshold, which is not defined anywhere in the Act. I think that a commissioner, who is usually an ex-judge, is in a good position to determine whether it's in the public interest. And we see in the New South Wales version only about 5% of hearings are public without the need for that exceptional circumstances overlay.
So that phrase, without being defined, in the hands of a commissioner could actually mean anything or nothing, couldn't it? If it meant nothing, it's really nothing to fret over, is it?
Well, that's true, except that it creates an opportunity to actually challenge that, which will cause more delays and just put the public one step away from understanding what's happening in our government. So that would be one of my concerns. If it's not actually achieving anything, why actually have it? If it does achieve anything, then I think it's too high a barrier. Now,
there will be oversight, including by a parliamentary committee. I think one position has been set aside for members of the crossbench. That's going to be quite a jostle, isn't it? Because there are so many of you who are interested or ran hard on this issue. Have you had any discussions with colleagues about how you sort out a pecking order for that?
We have talked about it. So the Oversight Committee will have 3 members of the government, 2 members of the opposition and 1 of the crossbench from both houses, because it's a joint committee. Given the amount of work that Helen Haines has done on this in the previous parliament, and I think it's worth pointing out that until today, the only legislation that had ever been introduced on this was actually from the crossbench.
Yeah, it was a big body of work.
That's right. So I think the rest of the crossbench is pretty happy for Helen to take the lead on that committee.
She'll defer to that. What are your own expectations about a passage and consultation from here? Do you actually think it would happen this year? Does that matter?
I don't think it matters. I think what matters is that we have a really rigorous inquiry process, from the committee that will be formed, so that the whole community gets the opportunity to look at that model and really get on board with it. So I'm far less concerned about meeting an arbitrary deadline than making sure that we've actually got a robust model.
And the powers that are given to the Commission are immense. They're secret surveillance, they're all the tricks of the trade that we've seen in state commissions. Does any of that cause you any alarm, from a civil liberties point of view, or you think this is the game you're talking about when you're talking about corruption?
I think there is a really big appetite in the community to be holding politicians to account, and so I think we do need to have those broad powers. Of course, we need to be using them carefully, and the appointment of ex-judges as commissioners means that role is usually held by someone who brings understanding of procedural fairness and natural justice to that role.
You do, this is the last question, Kate, you do mention politicians there, although numerically it's far more likely, isn't it, that the work of the Commission is going to be preoccupied with officials, just because in the Parliament there are only 226, I think it is, individuals. Corruption where it exists is mathematically more likely to be in the bureaucracy.
I really don't know. I think that politicians should be held to a really high standard, and so it's very important that they are covered. The beauty of it is that this model gives the Commission the right to pursue that wherever they see it. So it could be politicians or in the public service.
Yeah, of course, and none of us can know till we get there and the Commission is up and running. Kate Chaney, thanks for your takeout on all that's been unveiled today and what lies ahead in the creation of the Integrity Commission.
Thanks, Greg.
Yes.